Good morning, everyone, and thank you for attending today's webcast, Complex Data Management for Plant Engineering. Our presenter today is Matt Lane. He's the Director of Consulting Services with Hagerman Company. Before we get started, I want to let you know that you're in listening only mode. If you have questions during the presentation, just type them into the question panel on the right-hand side of your screen, and they'll be addressed at the end of the webcast. As you exit the webcast today, you'll be prompted to fill out a survey, and we ask that you take a few moments to fill that out. All attendees will receive a certificate for attending today's presentation. And with that, I'll hand things over to Matt.
All right, thank you, Ashley. Appreciate everyone joining us here today. Yeah, as Ashley mentioned, everyone is in listen-only mode. We will be taking questions at the end of the webinar, and in order to accommodate that, you can use the question panel inside your GoToWebinar interface. At any point during this session, you can type in questions, and then at the end, I'll go through and answer those. And the webinar here today is going to be a combination of PowerPoint, live demonstration, and then also some multimedia presentations. We're going to be covering a lot of ground here, and so those using a combination of those methods is probably the most effective way to do that. And just a quick look at our agenda. I'm going to give a very quick overview of Hagerman Company. I think most of the people that have joined us today have at least some background in Hagerman Company. We're going to give an overview of the systems offered, and then we're going to talk about some of the key business drivers and needed features and capabilities in regard to complex data management for plant engineering. And then we're going to be looking at how some of the systems that we offer address those specific needs. So this is partly going to be an industry presentation, partly going to be a product presentation, although at the end of the webinar, if you are interested in pursuing or purchasing a product, I wouldn't say that at this webinar will kind of give you a definitive comparison of the three systems, but we did want to have the ability to at least demonstrate some of the capabilities that we've talked about so you can actually see what that's doing. And hang on just a second. Looks like we may have a question here. Oh, maybe not. Okay. And I'll move on to the next slide. This Hagerman Company, we've been in business. It will actually be 31 years in May that we've been in the CAD business, which was our original start about 31 years ago when Autodesk really first came on the market. And you can see we've got offices spread throughout the central U.S. down into South Central and Southeastern United States, and then California as well, where we cover the West Coast. So we really do implementations all over the country and have even done implementation projects in foreign countries as well. And we've been doing data management solutions for over 20 years now, and during that time, we've done over 400 customer implementations. So I think we've got a wealth of experience here with our staff, and most of our staff has been with us this whole time, so they've got years and years of experience and not a lot of newbies on staff who are inexperienced. Just customers that we've done implementations for in the plant engineering space, and again, this will be a variety of different systems. You can see some pretty common household names here. And then we offer 3 different systems. We offer the Autodesk data management products, which are Vault Basic, Workgroup, and Professional. Also, we'll be talking about Autodesk Buzzsaw today as well, which ties into these products and ties into needs within plant engineering. We also offer BlueCielo Meridian and Synergis Adept. So our goal is to work with each client to help them determine the right product for their needs rather than having one product that we sell to everybody. And you're going to be getting at least glimpses of each of these three products throughout the presentation, although today we're not really trying to give a definitive comparison between the three. Within markets, plant engineering, this could apply to utility companies, steel companies, chemical companies, food processing. A variety of different types of industries have somewhat similar needs, although there are different ones within each industry. Some of the complexities we see out there, as assets age, they require more maintenance, possibly threatening safety and health. That needs to be managed and tracked. Of course, there's always demands to be able to increase revenue out of the same plant infrastructure, reduce operating costs, improve operational excellence in a variety of different measures. Of course, regulatory compliance and tracking is probably more and more of a challenge all the time. Particular industries, ones that come to mind might be utilities or oil refineries. We have peak demands that really stress your production capacity at particular times a year. And of course, everyone is really driving to lower their impact on the environment. But these are some of the big picture business drivers that we see within the industry, and then our products hopefully will do their part to help your company better meet these particular challenges. And in terms of challenges and things that we hear within the industry, and this is something I lifted from an actual customer scope that we did, kind of expressing the challenges that they run into. And I think some of these will probably ring some bells for you as well. Some of their challenges, their electronic documents are stored in locations and servers and folder structures that are difficult or impossible for users in other departments to access. So sharing of information is difficult. If a person in one department needs to look at something, they have to go to a person in another department to help them find it, which is just very inefficient. Also find their data is spread around in a lot of separate and non-integrated Excel and Access files spread over a lot of different departments and servers, so you get conflicting. The information may be related, but it's not kept up to date and in sync, or has to be entered multiple times by multiple people in different departments. This company was in the chemical industry, where they're dealing with what are known as MOCs, or management of change. So they're managing those processes and then have trouble tracking the particular documents that relate to those management of change processes. A biggie for anybody in plant engineering, where you have a lot of fixed assets, fixed equipment, being able to relate all the documents and data to a particular piece of equipment. So I can query on an equipment number and find all the current documents related to that piece of equipment for maintenance purposes or whatever else. One reason people tend to store files in their own locations and their own servers is that if you're just using Windows-based network security, it really doesn't provide a good platform for properly managing the security to share files with others. And that's one of the places where the systems that we offer come in. A lot of people are still doing hard copy document distribution, which is obviously expensive, time-consuming, can be troublesome if paper gets out of date and people are grabbing old, outdated copies of a piece of paper that they have on file. So for this particular customer, their goals were to have easy electronic retrieval of documents. So somebody in any department that needs a document, they can type in search parameters, immediately find the document they need, knowing that it's the current document, be able to retrieve documents based on meaningful properties such as MOC number, equipment or tag number, document type, project number, or information out of their CAD title blocks. Be able to improve control over document revisions and histories so they can go back to past revisions if necessary. A biggie that we're going to talk about here today is separation of the current master or as-built documents from working or project files, where companies typically have as-built document structures relating to the current designs of equipment that are out there in the plant, but then a lot of times there's one or more projects going on where some of those documents may be being changed. Being able to get those working copies or project files separated so those documents are going through their changes either internally or via external or outside engineering firms, those are separated so that the maintenance people are always looking at the current as-built while the new versions are being worked on, and then when the new construction is done, releasing the new as-built, and being able to separate those but keep them linked and then track what projects this as-built is assigned to. A lot of people are going to either have P&ID drawings, could be done with like standard AutoCAD or maybe AutoCAD P&ID, being able to tie that P&ID drawing information to other related documents and files. Also relate documents to MOC records. I think we kind of hit on this before, being able to share information between departments and employees get the benefit of that without the risk of unattended data loss or modification. And then ensure that employees are able to access the most current and correct revisions so they're not getting outdated revisions, they're not getting hold of documents before they're actually released, and people aren't going to old paper copies that are squirreled away. And reduce the amount of time that employees spend looking for data for themselves or others. So maybe somebody in maintenance is having to take too long to find a file. They want to cut that time. Also, there's cases where maybe maintenance can't find the file, so they've got to go into engineering and have them find it. So then both engineering and maintenance are spending unproductive time. Within, really, I think all the companies we work with in plant engineering pretty much maintain fairly skeleton internal engineering staffs and are heavily reliant upon outside engineering firms for doing a lot of the design work, which means having a lot of outgoing and incoming document transmittals. So a big goal for most companies is to have a better way to create, send, track, and report on those incoming and outgoing transmittals. And then, then going back to, again, most companies operating with a skeleton internal engineering or drafting staff, is that it really leaves little time to keep as-built drawings properly updated. So goal of a new system would be your drafting or document coordinator people have to spend less time doing those tasks, so then they can spend the time bringing those outdated drawings and documents up to date. So I thought this particular customer scope really cut across a lot of the common areas and challenges that we see. And then to summarize what we see as the key needs within plant engineering. Now, our company also does a lot of work in discrete manufacturing, CAD for product design, whether it's designing furniture or computers or cars or custom machines, typically relying on internal design staff. There's some overlap of needs between discrete manufacturing and more process-oriented industries, but there's some key differentiators as well. So, this presentation is really going to focus on some of those key differences. And really, if you've only worked with data management for discrete manufacturing, you find there's a lot to learn when you first start working in a plant engineering environment. But some of the key needs, just general document management, basic check-in, check-out, revision history, document workflows, searching, those kinds of things, which is common whether somebody's dealing with CAD files or not. CAD integration, is another key need. We're going to hit on that. A biggie that we've touched on and we're going to hit on more in the demonstration is support for engineering projects. Tools to separate the as-built from the project copies, and then support for overlapping projects or concurrent engineering. Easy 24/7 search view print interface. Your operations are typically running 24/7. It's 2 o'clock Sunday morning. A maintenance person needs to find a drawing. There's nobody in engineering. They need a good, reliable search interface to help them drill down and find what they're looking for to keep the plant running. And then tools for collaboration with outside parties, which can involve the transmittals we talked about. We'll take a look at some cloud-based collaboration, some document importing tools, so that when documents come back from an outside consultant, they can be easily imported. And then finally, we'll look at linking of documents to the related assets or pieces of equipment. So those are kind of the feature sets that we're going to take a look at here. But just from a general document standpoint, what features people are looking for: a secure document vault, check-in, check-out, revisioning, automatic revisioning and revision histories, integration with all your standard desktop applications, so not just CAD, but also Microsoft Office and Adobe, and those types of things. Then the ability to manage all types of files. We talked about searching, viewing, and redlining. So from the document management interface, users can view all types of files without having to have or open that file type's native application. There's a multi-format viewer built in. Workflow capabilities with email notification. So those workflows could be just document workflow, document review and approval processes, or it could be more of a business process workflow like a corrective action procedure or something like that. And then possibly the ability to work through a web client. So you can do most of the functionality of the software with a web client. Now, just to jump over, see a little bit in action here. At this point, I'm in the BlueCielo Meridian software, and I'll just be using the different products here at different times as we demonstrate. But just to give an example here, some of the general features. I can go in here, I can click on a file, I can see detailed information on the file, I can see this is revision B, so I can say show revisions and go back to past revisions. And you can notice here some of these changes that didn't increment the revision letter or number. This particular software has quick change functionality, or maybe you're just not changing any functional design, you're correcting a spelling error, so you don't increment the rev. You can do that. You can compare revisions. If I look over here, I can see detailed property information on this particular drawing, and this is all configurable. Or edit the property, search on this. I can bring the drawing up full screen for viewing. I can see the current workflow status of this particular drawing, track it through its workflow. If I look at my security, I haven't started that. So then these data management tools will have much more robust security where you can define user roles, and instead of Windows just read, modify, delete, you can granularly control all of these different functionalities or file or access to the file. Or if I search, I've got searching capabilities, do a quick search. I could then say only show me released, only show me ones that are revision B. So I can search and retrieve documents based on any of these properties. We talked about the viewing. If I go I'd go to a bill of materials. So you can manage all types of files, view them, whether it's a Word document, an Excel file, a PDF. And then if I double-click on a file, it will launch it into its application, give me the option to check it out for change. Then I can check in and route it through its workflow for review and approval. So that's just obviously a super quick look at some of these features. And if I bring up a depth, it's got a similar look and feel. And I can bring a document up, look at its property pages. I could hit view, bring it up into the viewer. Or if I look at something in Vault, all of them have fairly similar interfaces. Next thing I want to talk about was integrating with and managing CAD files. Just starting out at a base level, just support for standard vanilla AutoCAD. Then with vanilla AutoCAD, especially in your industries, it's important to manage XREFs and support hybrid files where you have AutoCAD DWG files with raster documents linked into it as a child. So these are some of the key features that people are looking for or need. Then also support for AutoCAD-based verticals. As we're seeing packages like AutoCAD Electrical, AutoCAD Mechanical, AutoCAD PNID, AutoCAD Plant 3D, Civil 3D. More and more companies are going towards those AutoCAD-based verticals rather than vanilla AutoCAD. So an increased level of sophistication in regard to AutoCAD integrations being required. Also, then people may have the need to integrate with Inventor, MicroStation, SolidWorks, also Autodesk Revit, which is becoming more and more popular. And some of these AutoCAD-based verticals actually have their own project files or project databases associated with them, which manage which manage links between drawing files or links between the project file or project database and the individual drawings. So, back when we started with data management, it was this kind of vanilla AutoCAD, XREF, then maybe hybrids. Now this CAD integration subject is getting a lot more complicated, so it's something to really make sure the data management tool you're working with works with all these different products, and then manages all their complex file interrelationships. Also then, for your non-CAD users, providing a tool for them that has built-in CAD viewing, redlining, and printing. Title block linking, so that information in your CAD title blocks automatically synchronizes with the data management tool, so then those title block properties can be viewed or searched on. Also then inside CAD Application Integration, which we'll take a look at here. And then a lot of people are looking for automated publishing so that your viewers aren't needing to or have the ability to access your native CAD file even for viewing, so that when new versions of documents are created, they're automatically published to PDF or DWF for your viewers. We have a lot of people in plant engineering wanting those capabilities, and the software packages we work with offer that. But looking at some of the inside CAD application integration, if I pull up AutoCAD, and if we take a look at the example of Autodesk Vault, I'm here in AutoCAD, so using Vault. You can see from inside the application, I've got the ability to log into Vault, open files from Vault into AutoCAD, and check out when I do that. Go into my Vault, find an XREF and attach it, do check-in, check-out from Vault from right inside my CAD application, change state to route documents through their workflows, access old revisions, and so on. And then both Meridian and Adept also offer similar integrations, so your CAD users can go on just doing most of their work in CAD and not have to always be flipping over to the Vault, Meridian, or Adept user interface, which I showed you earlier. Then if we look at Inventor, this is a more complex example, but you can see with Inventor, and again, Vault, Meridian, Adept all offer integration with inside Inventor. So you can see with Vault, you've got a similar Vault ribbon inside Inventor. Also with Inventor, you've got a Vault browser, and our other tools offer the same thing. So within this assembly, I can go to one of these child parts and perform data management functions on the parent or the child subassemblies or parts from within inside my application. And then here you can see some of the different CAD application integrations that can be required out there. So you can see it's getting more and more tools and more complexity. Now, support for engineering projects. And we talked about some of these earlier, just including approval processes, management of overlapping engineering projects. And this is what this is designed to show here, where the CPs are projects, and you can see, and then the same set of documents here may be assigned out to multiple projects, where project 2, you can see that's a longer-term project. But first, this document gets assigned to project 1, where it's being updated, a new as-built released, and that as-built gets released after project 2 was started, So the fact that there's a new as-built of this file that's released but assigned to Project 2 needs to be communicated down to Project 2, so these changes get incorporated into the drawings here. So managing that kind of complexity, separating the current as-built drawings from work-in-progress changes, and then tracking the sign out to multiple simultaneous parties and projects. Now, if we look at something in action on that, and this is the Meridian software, it has the most sophisticated built-in tools for this, where I've got a sample vault set up here. I've got a limited as-built structure, but under engineering documents and drawing general, and I've got some P&IDs in here. These represent my as-built or master drawings. Then I've got another structure in here for project documents, which is organized by year and then project number. And it may be I need to take one or more of these as-built P&IDs and assign them to one or more projects. Now, most systems you work with are designed to do a change or an edit in place, where you come in, go to document workflow, and say start a change on this document, and this document would be going through its change cycle right in the context of the as-built folder, which really isn't the best option in a plant engineering environment. So what we have the ability here to do is under these master/project copy commands. And I'll actually select a couple of as-built here. And what I wanted to do is assign these documents to one of my projects and then lock them. So I can say I need to assign these out to project 1003. So what this is going to do, it's going to create project copies. So down here, it created copies in my 1003 folder, but then they still live in my as-built folder. So you can see it's placed padlocks on them to denote that they're assigned to project 1002. Now maybe it comes, or 1003. Now maybe we come along and these need to get assigned out, we discover, to another project. So now if I come back up here, it's automatically added this reference chain, and I can see here's my master as-built, and then here's the two project copies. Or I can say show project copies, and gives me a list view. And I can see here's my master as-built, and here are the two project copies that are related to it. And you can see the one in folder 1003 is the one that's currently controlling it. Then the idea is down here in my, so your maintenance people wouldn't have access to this project structure at all. And then as your documents would be changed, reviewed, approved, go through that cycle. So I could come down here and say start a change. So my change cycle would take place in the project folder, open it in CAD, edit it, say we're done, I'll release it here. Then Oh, okay. Okay, we're okay. There we go. Then when I'm done, then you can say release as master revision. At that point, it will then take the new version, new released and approved version in the project folder and release it back to the as-built as my new master revision. Then unless you delete these project copies, these project folders will stay in place, so you can always go back at any point to review, what was the actual files we created or edited or got back for this particular project. So you've got that project history maintained as well. So you can see there's a whole series of commands related to managing and tracking these project copies and releasing as masters and that kind of thing. As I mentioned, the BlueCielo software is definitely the most sophisticated in this particular area. We are looking, Hagerman & Company is actually looking at developing some similar functionality for Autodesk Vault, though. "24/7 search, view, print access" is another biggie. In plant engineering, coordination of projects and coordination working with outside engineering contractors, and then making documents available so the plant stays to your maintenance people so the plant stays up and running are the two big hot buttons, typically what we see. And what people typically want to have is forms-based searching, easy browsing to the files, and then integrated viewing, and possibly red line and markup. If we look at Adept, Adept has their desktop client, also their Explorer web client. In both of them, they have a similar search interface because you can browse the files, or if I hit search, it brings up a configured form, where this is actually my full library card. You could have a simpler, more compact search form for your maintenance people, like asset ID number, scan maintenance type. So you can have different configured forms available in the desktop or the web. So they've got a simple, easy to use, totally configurable form to search and retrieve documents. In Vault, in the desktop client, it has a configurable, this is totally configured, what they call a query builder panel, where you can configure whatever properties you want to search on here. Also, Autodesk has their web client, which has browsing and single property searching. And I think this is still firing up my server, but you can browse your Vault folder structure. Find a file, and then view it. For some people, however, the Vault search interface, you only have this single string search. You don't have a forms-based search. So for some people, the Vault web client isn't sufficient. One thing we've developed at Hagerman & Company is what we call our QBP connection software, which it works with Vault and other data management tools as well, where you can have a custom-built search form. This was for a steel plant where you can search by the mill, the line, the drawing discipline, the drawing type, equipment number, drawing description, vendor, whatever properties you want, and then can select value. You can do a contain search or a starts with, so they can fill in as many or as few parameters as they know, and then have a quick, easy-to-use search. With BlueCielo, Meridian example, they have their Explorer client, and I'm going to jump to a demo of it here.
The BlueCielo Explorer client provides an innovative way to browse and find your documents. Using filter and full-text search functionality, you can easily navigate your way to the document you need and view its information with just a couple of mouse clicks. Running down the left-hand side of the client interface, we have all the controls we need to navigate the BlueCielo Vault. Here at the top, we can choose a predefined view or enter some text in the full-text search. As you can see, this quickly produces results here in the right-hand pane. By default, the results are shown in a grid, but this can be easily changed to the thumbnail view by pressing this button. Moving down the left-hand pane, we have more options to help find documents. Listed here are some of the properties for this particular vault. The vault text shown here are the names of the properties, and they can be expanded to show some of the values of these properties. Basically, this can be seen as a filter, allowing you to filter on the selected properties. Some of these properties also contain a manual input field, allowing you to specify a part of a property value. This eliminates the need to search the entire list of property values. Searching with this filter method is very flexible in that you can choose to either filter in a hierarchy or simply on a single property value. The order of selection does not matter. What's more, you can also select to filter on multiple values of any given property. This is done by simply checking the Enable Multiple Selector option as shown here. You may have noticed earlier that when you select a value for a property, the other values disappear. Now, you can select multiple values by simply clicking them. Every property value you select will now show a small red cross as seen here. Clicking this cross will remove the value from the filter. Each thumbnail also shows a number of predefined properties that give information about the document. Clicking on the thumbnail will put focus on that specific document, and extra controls become available to us. To begin with, a viewer window is opened, which includes the same controls that are available in the BlueCielo client application. Across the top of the interface are a number of tabs giving you access to more information on the selected document. The first tab, Basic Info, is the currently selected tab. We can also switch to the Property Pages tab, showing all of the available property pages that you would also see with the BlueCielo Web Access Client or Power User Client. From here, we can also view the version information for this document. On the right is a list.
Yeah, I think I'll go ahead and stop that one there. So hopefully you got an idea of the viewing capabilities, search view print capabilities with the BlueCielo or BlueCielo product. Next area I want to focus on is collaboration with outside parties. And again, you know, some of the features there, we talk about document transmittal, creation and management, importing of incoming document packages, and then integrated cloud-based collaboration with external parties. And then some of the options there, of course, you know, there's always Dropbox out there, and then Autodesk Buzzsaw is a specific cloud-based tool that will work with both Autodesk Vault and Synergist Adept. And then BlueCielo has their Microsoft SharePoint-based project portal product. You know, what we're still see a lot of people using email and FTP for collaborating with outside parties. You know, some of the challenges or lacks with that is security can sometimes be an issue. There's no integrated viewing, redlining, or markup. Not a good way to track who accessed files and when. So when the contractor tells you, I never got those files, you don't have a way to go back and track and verify that. Or some of the other tools, you've got the ability to actually track and report on their access. Also, you may post or send out, you may post new files to an FTP, but people aren't automatically notified when new or updated information is available. Also, FTP sites can't maintain a version history, so you can't track changes or get back to an old version if something was improperly overwritten. Also, with CAD, you're dealing with huge files, which are typically beyond the limit of what email servers will allow, or you get all these large files out there in email clogging things up. Also, generic solutions like Dropbox don't support anything CAD integration like XREF management and that kind of thing. So the advantages of going to a cloud-based collaboration tool like Buzzsaw or the project portal, it gives you a secure web-based platform with very robust UI-based security management. They'll also include integrated viewing and redlining of CAD files, audit trails so you know exactly when files were uploaded and when they were accessed by people, automatic email notifications, so when somebody posts new files, the proper people on the team get email notification with a download link in the email. I'm talking about full version control and version history. Also, the cloud-based tools will typically support automatic compression and encryption of files for speed and higher security, which in the end leads to lower total cost of ownership because you're not having to do these things manually. Now, with the Autodesk Buzzsaw, again, it's a cloud-based project collaboration tool. It will also automatically synchronize with folders in Autodesk Vault or folders in Adept. So if you place files into a new Adept or Vault folder, they can automatically sync to Buzzsaw. If your engineering firm then posts new files to Buzzsaw, they can automatically sync down to a particular Vault, Adept, or Windows folder as well. And that synchronization includes add, move, delete, modify, and rename. And if we take a look at that in action a little bit, I'm going to go to a movie here, and we'll show a movie here on, let's look at just some basic Buzzsaw functionality.
Introducing the next generation web access for Autodesk Buzzsaw users. Let's take a look. The construction manager navigates the project view. First, he selects the latest planning documents for an upcoming project. The new thumbnail views make it easy to quickly select and preview the documents. Next, he needs to view the latest version of the architectural Revit model for a hospital project. He uses the new BIM viewing feature to navigate and view all of the 2D and 3D views of the model. He can explore the model and access any of the properties and metadata. With the BIM viewing feature, project teams can have accurate, timely, and intelligent access to Revit and Navisworks project models managed on Buzzsaw, all through a web browser.
And the integration would also include AutoCAD based as well, not just Revit and Navisworks.
And all of the 2D and 3D views are as defined by the creator of the Revit model. Buzzsaw also provides project teams with cross-browser viewing access to DWF and DWG files. In addition, team members can view, edit, and save new versions of AutoCAD DWG project designs. With Buzzsaw, project teams can access, manage, and exchange the most recent project models, files, and documents from anywhere, from the office, the web, or the field.
I've got another presentation that talks about how that the Buzzsaw sync is set up. I think in the interest of time, I'm going to skip that one, but it talks about how all that automatic folder syncing between Windows, Vault, or Adept, and Buzzsaw can be set up. We take a look at, of course, a lot of you are going to get incoming document transmittals, and Adept has really good tools for transmittal creation. So for instance, here from within Adept, I can pick a set of files. Say I want to transmittal. If those files have XREFs, it'll automatically grab their children as well. If I want to send the transmittal out via email, it'll ask me if I want to send those files individually or package them into a zip. It will also ask if I want to send out native files, or as part of the transmittal creation, it can automatically publish the CAD files to PDF and then zip up the PDFs and put them in the transmittal email. Then with Adept, you can configure a transmittal form or record, so it'll log all the information as, who it's going to, the date, who created it, and then print out a report of all the documents that were included in the transmittal, save that to PDF, and save that in Adept with a link to all the files that went out on the transmittal. So at any point, I could go back to that transmittal record, see all the files that went out on it, or I could go to any file and see all the transmittals that it went out on. So Adept's got excellent capabilities there. Also, if you get an incoming transmittal from a vendor, they might, if they send you 1,000 drawings, those could be drag and dropped in, or a lot of times they'll want a spreadsheet record of the files that are coming in. And then with Adept, you can do an import from a spreadsheet, which you can specify. You can browse and select the spreadsheet, say scan it, and then you can match up. It will automatically match up if the names are the same, the names of the Excel columns in the spreadsheet with fields or properties in Adept. So then it'll read the spreadsheet, bring in the files, automatically fill out all of your Adept properties for you. And then kind of the last area I want to talk about is linking of documents to related assets. And the BlueCielo or InnoCielo Meridian probably has the best functionality there, where you can see this kind of shown graphically in the engineering department, in the vault. You're managing all your different types of documents, largely drawings, but could be other document types as well, and all the red lines, the markups, the revs. Companies will typically have a maintenance and service department that's got some type of maintenance management system. It could be Maximo, SAP, Oracle, variety of different systems that are managing all their equipment or asset records, and then the work orders that relate to them. With the maintenance integration that BlueCielo has, you can actually link up your asset records in the maintenance management system with your documents. And that supports one-to-many and many-to-many relationships, so that the same drawing or document can be linked to multiple assets or pieces of equipment. Each piece of equipment can have multiple documents associated with it. And then either in the Meridian desktop client, the Meridian Explorer, or in the maintenance management system, you can search and retrieve a piece of equipment and then hit a button and see all the documents that relate to it. So when a guy needs to do maintenance, he can immediately have the most current documents. And then here's an example of doing it from the maintenance system, where this is a screenshot from Maximo. It's actually a little bit older version. But you can see here's the Maximo screen. It's got like equipment number, parent piece of equipment, location, item, vendor, other pertinent pieces of equipment. And then there's a button that's been added to Maximo called Engineering Documents, where based on the current piece of equipment that's displayed, hit this button, that'll go to Meridian, find that piece of equipment, find that equipment record, and then pull up all the documents related to that piece of equipment. So it's one integrated interface to do that. Other important capabilities in plant environment, we still see people have tens of thousands of scan drawings. So a system that's good for managing and viewing scan drawings is important. A lot of companies we work with have older systems if they want to become outdated and obsolete. So a system that's got good capability to migrate from the old system into the new system, and the packages we work with have that. Being able to take out a block of drawing numbers, integrate with other in-house systems, and support for other company departments, so your investment for the engineering data management tool could also be leveraged in other departments for managing their documents and workflows, so you've got one enterprise data or document management solution. And then summarizing kind of what we looked at. So we looked at these 5 key areas plus general document management. So these were the 5 key areas we looked at. And then the different systems we talked about. So again, they all have the CAD integration. Now I did note, but check on your specific CAD software, especially if you're into Plant 3D, PNID, Civil 3D. Concurrent engineering, we took a look at the advanced project workflow module with Meridian for linking and managing the masters or as-built and how they relate to the project copies. Currently with Vault and Adept, some manual processes are required to do that. For search view print access, we saw the demo of the BlueCielo Explorer. We also looked at Hagerman QVP connection, which works with Meridian and Vault. We looked at the Vault Pro web client a little bit, and then Adept Explorer with that forms-based search. Some of the tools for collaborating with outside parties. We talked about the BlueCielo project portal, which is similar to Buzzsaw, which works with Adept and Vault. BlueCielo also has a nice document import tool, and then Adept has the document import and a nice transmittal tool. And then linking of documents and assets, we talked about the asset management module with Meridian, which is the most sophisticated of the 3 systems we offer in that particular area. And then Vault and Adept, more manual processes would currently be required for managing that linking. So this is at least a nutshell overview of what we see as the key areas of capability. and what the different systems provide. But however, I would caution, we covered a lot of ground here, so I wouldn't take today's presentation as a definitive comparison between the three systems, but hopefully you're kind of getting some ideas of where the strengths might lie. And I think that's the end of my presentation. So at this point, we can check and see if we've got any questions out here. Question, Vault single string search, can you use, okay, asterisk word, asterisk. With Vault, that would be a contains search. So you wouldn't have to put the asterisk there. If you did a contained search, that would automatically find the string you're searching for within any string. Setting up property search bar for Vault, is that only in the professional version? I think what you're talking about is probably this, what they call the query builder. This works, I think this works in all levels of Vault, basic, workgroup, and professional. I think that's in all levels of Vault. I would have to double check that, but it's only in the desktop client, not in the web client. Question, how do you specify what properties are searchable in Vault? I believe they're all searchable. And then how do you add custom properties in Vault? That's done through the administration here, where I can go in and manage properties, and I can create new properties, edit existing properties, managing their mapping, which controls the passing of information between Vault and AutoCAD, Inventor, Office, and so on. Other questions? Going once? Going twice? Question, can I call you after this for detailed info? Yeah, my number, probably email would be the best way to contact me, and then set up a time. If anyone wants to email any questions directly to me, I'll just show it. My email address, mattlane@hagerman.com. So feel free to email me with any questions, or email me if you want to set up a time to talk if you have more detailed questions. Well, if there's not any more questions here, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up. Ashley, did you have anything in closing?
If you have any additional questions, you can email Matt or just respond to the confirmation email you received, and we will get those to Matt. And also, if you could once again just fill out that short survey as you leave, we would appreciate it. And thanks for attending today's webcast. Have a great day.
All right, thank you.